Good afternoon, class. This is Shay Klessman for Java 2, January 17th, 2013, class 1302. This week we were working on our fragments, and so far I like fragments. A little bit confusing when it comes to trying to use the graphical layout or just pretty much following it through your code, but I like the idea of it and how I'm going to be able to use it. The advantages and disadvantages, I'm not exactly sure 100% yet, but I like the idea of being able to replace just a piece of the screen without having to replace the whole thing. So I'm going to test a few things in, I think, week 3 when we do some of our API and see how I do with adding new pieces and parts as we go. I wish I'd gotten more done this week. I got stuck for about a day trying to hook up my fragments. I was using the graphical interface for week 1 and trying to get the fragments to work off of them didn't work because I had mine in relative views and I didn't notice the linear layout, and I was all stuck on that for days, or at least a day. I had to go back and rewrite my XMLs to be linear layouts. But in the end, it worked out, and I think now I can actually figure out how to do it in relative views, but I haven't tested it yet. This week, I think the one thing that I could have used more explanation on would have been the relative views. It wasn't brought up at all, and it would have saved me some time, but that's about all I can think of. I'll give you a quick look at my app this week. I'm doing a black background, so hopefully we can see it without the reflection a little bit better. So we have one view at the bottom being the 3 buttons that will always populate. And the top, currently I just have a note up there saying that this is where I'm going to put my weather views. It's a forecast. I'm going to try to make a list view that comes up there. Currently when you click on the forecast data, it'll take you to a white screen that has 5 radio buttons, like a 5-day forecast, click next. I have the forecast location. I have currently checking to see what zip code you're in. Checks the connection, puts it in there as the default, so connect, but you can change it if you want to, and it throws it in here showing your choices at this time. Next week it's going to use that information to pull the data from the API and display it here, but it's just to show that it's up. The forecast history still is under construction. Haven't needed to use it yet, but I have a spot for it. And then the last page is the weather web page, which takes you directly to the web. That works too. Takes a second to load though, but everything seems to be working. I think I covered everything for this week. I guess the one thing we got to look at is that when you do turn it sideways, it flips, and you can flip it any direction in any page. New forecast, can't see it because it's white, but even in here it rotates too. I made this one a scroll view instead of doing a side by side so you can find the button at the bottom. But everything's in there and everything's working, and I hope it's going to be a good foundation for next week when I add the API data. Thanks for the help this week, and I'm going to use this weekend to get a head start on next week. Have a good day.